Chris McKenna formed the production company Promac Productions more than 3 decades ago, with a primary focus on quality touring theatrical productions and concerts to all parts of Australia. 15 years back, the company branched out and started producing high-quality children's pantomimes. It was to reinvent, rejuvenate some of the old classic stories. On Tuesday, the 20th of September, Chris is bringing one of those pantos to the Cardinia Cultural Centre. There'll be 2 performances, one at 3 and one at 7 at night. Chris is on the line as our guest. Chris, nice to have you online with us.
Lovely to be here, Leigh. Thanks for having me.
Pleasure, Chris. Pantomime. Look, I grew up with pantomime. I did as a kid, but we've lost all of that in Melbourne, and it's so nice to see that your company is bringing it back to us.
Well, we have, yeah. I mean, in our 30 years existence for Promac Productions, which makes me sound a little bit older than I probably am, but
well, you started in nappies, didn't you?
Hey?
You were in nappies starting it.
Yeah, exactly. We decided about 15 years ago that there was a gap in the market and that while there was some great children's productions touring around Australia through the likes of Gary Ginnivan, there was also a gap in the really down front kids' participation, old-fashioned pantomime. So we decided to tour things like Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, and now Red Riding Hood, and also we have a production of Goldilocks, but now Red Riding Hood, where we tell a very true to the story, but we do rocket the show into the year 2016, and there's loads of laughs and heaps of audience and children's participation.
Chris, the thing I used to like about Panto, and we went to the Tivoli regularly for that as kids in the 1950s, 1960s, and also up the Princess Theatre, but you'd have the guys dressed as the women as the guys, and of course they'd come out and say, oh, where is it, Grandma's doing this one, and it was always a lot of fun.
Yes, it's exactly that, and we do a little bit of that. I mean, we have the traditional characters of Red Riding Hood and Grandma and Big Bad Wolf, and I must say it's very children-friendly, this production. There's no eating of Red Riding Hood by the Big Bad Wolf. But at one point, the Big Bad Wolf does appear as a footy fairy.
Oh, really?
So there is a little bit of cross-dressing in it.
Any names in particular?
Sorry?
Any names in particular?
No names,
No
just
names.
a footy fairy.
Just a footy fairy.
And we have and this time we've assembled a fantastic cast, led by Michelle Fitzmaurice, who many of the senior audiences will remember from her performance with John Bowles recently in Country Gold.
That's right.
We have Madison Green, who is playing Red Riding Hood. Now, Madison has a fascinating story. She's just finished the tour of Georgie Girl, playing the first cover to Judith Durham, whereby she went on for over 60 performances. So she is a star in the making, young girl.
You've got some talent. That's good.
Yeah, and then we have 2 of the other boys from the production of Georgie Girl, Brenton Wilson and John O'Hara, playing Little Jack the Woodsman and the Big Bad Wolf and the Footy Fairy. So it's going to be a hell of a lot of fun. Promac from time to time has performed our pantos very successfully at the Cardinia Cultural Centre, but not in the last couple of years under the new management of Mark Fawcett and co.
Mark's wonderful. He really is a great manager and getting some fine entertainment down there. As you said, we've been touring Australia for nearly 30 years, and I rate Mark as one of the best theatre managers in Australia. He is one of the few that's had a full theatrical background from his days in London. Yes.
And he came out back to Australia. He managed the White Horse Centre very successfully in Nunawading. He was then seconded to the Mackay Entertainment Centre for 10 years, and now he's back in Victoria, in Melbourne, at Pakenham at the Cardinia Cultural Centre. And I can tell you that they should be very, very thankful that they have a wonderful theatre manager, because believe you me, I've been to parts of Australia where there's not very good theatre managers, and the arts audience of that town or that regional centre do suffer.
Chris, it makes a difference when you got a professional in the place, and I've been dealing with Mark for about 12 months now, and his professionalism is second to none.
It is second to none, and we're very thankful that he from time to time has had our pantomimes in the other theatres he's managed, and they've always gone very, very well. It's a very customer-friendly production. I like the fact that Mark's put on a 7 p.m. performance as well as a 3 p.m.
Yeah, that's good.
It's suitable for what we say boys and girls from sort of 12 under, but there'll be a few jokes for the adults and grandmas as well. So school holidays is just round the corner, and particularly on days like today where it's a bit rainy and wet outside, It's a great place to take them to a live theatrical production and get them off those bloomin' phones and tablets and iPads.
Yeah, you got me with you there. Goodness,
Yeah,
they're just dreadful. It was my grandmother who got me involved in theatre when I was a little kid. And as I said in the intro, we went to pantomimes every Christmas time. It was just that tradition. And had it not been for her and that introduction through pantomime, perhaps I would never have been on radio in 1966. But it's funny how things turn out, isn't it?
Well, exactly. And I know that my mother took out my children to some early theatrical productions, and they loved it. And so, yeah, it's a very, very fast-paced, a lot of great singing. The show is musically backed on CD. All the orchestration of the CD has been done by David Cameron, who is David Hobson's musical director.
Yep.
And David Hobson, again, is making a return to
November.
Cardinia Cultural Centre in early November, and I believe that is already sold out, so that is fantastic.
I looked online the other night, and I think I saw 2 seats available.
Yeah. I think we might be keeping them for Mrs. Hobson and David's mother. But I believe also, Leigh, that you're for any of your audience in the Frankston Dandenong area, David's doing a very, very special Cup Eve production on the 31st of October at the Frankston Arts Centre.
Another great venue.
So look out for that one. But yeah, we're going to have a great time.
I want to bring you back. I want to bring you back now to your life. And let me talk about how you got started in this sort of business. Now, you must have been a bit young and, Well,
I was actually 20 when I started. And prior to that, I'd had 7 years in the Australian Boys Choir as a chorister.
Uh-huh.
I'd been fortunate enough to tour to America in 1976 for their bicentennial celebrations, where I got to do things as a 12-year-old, which you will probably never do again. I sang a trio in the Carnegie Hall in New York with a Vienna Boys Choir soprano, myself as second soprano, and an England Boys Choir alto. And like that, it's like reaching the peak of your show business career at the age of 12.
What an experience.
Yeah, it was amazing. And so I caught the bug, as they say. I got caught the theatrical bug, and I did a lot of amateur theatre from the ages of 15 to about 19. I bought a theatre restaurant in Sandringham, John Hancock's Theatre Restaurant in Beach Road, Sandringham, which is sadly no longer there.
It was a great venue, Chris.
Hancock's dinner theatre.
Yeah, it was lovely.
And I ran that for 3 years, and then basically Promac Productions was born. And we started to tour a new concept in theatre called Morning Melodies, which had been invented by the late and great Betty Pounder at the Victorian Arts Centre. And I was involved in booking the very first one with June Bronhill, another wonderful star, who taught me a lot about the business. She taught me a lot about the business of show business, and she was just a marvel to travel with and listen to and also watch. I mean, I don't think I've seen a better concert performer than June Bronhill, and from that day, Morning Melodies at the Victorian Arts Centre was born. They sold in excess of 5,000 seats in 10 days, and now Morning Melodies is performed pretty much from Cairns to Hobart and from Margaret River to Cardinia, and it is part of the staple diet of all the good theatres. And pretty much that's what Promac specialise in, the Morning Melodies and the pantomimes.
They're wonderful times. We were down at the Cardinia Cultural Centre just on Wednesday to see a production down there. We go every month, my wife and I. And it's wonderful. Really is. And it's inexpensive. At $18 or thereabouts, it's very, very cheap to go and have a lovely morning out.
Oh, it is. And the morning tea that Mark and his staff put on there at Cardinia is second to none.
Those scones are fabulous.
It's just a pity that June Bronhill isn't around today, because there's so many more theatres that have opened up that would have seen her in concert, which I'm sure you did, Leigh.
Yeah, I did.
And it was amazing. And she herself learned her concert craft from a man many of your listeners will know, the great Harry Seacombe.
Yes,
and
yes, of
he
course.
was just a marvel at the concert work. So we're very fortunate. It's a great audience. They're a very appreciative audience. They're an audience that we don't take for granted. They too have been to and seen all the professional shows. So, we're very respectful of that. So we work very diligently and hard to produce as good a show as we possibly can.
All right, it's Red Riding Hood. It's the Panto coming to the Cardinia Cultural Centre. It's Tuesday week, the 20th of September, smack bang in the middle of the holidays, which is great. 3 o'clock in the afternoon, again at 7 at night. And if you'd like a family pass, Chris has been very, very kind to give us one of those to give away. The family pass, 2 adults, 2 children, or 1 adult and 3 children. You can ring the studio right now and that pass is yours. 5996 6977. 5996 6977. The sad news is, Chris, I wanted to go to this and I am away for 2 days, the 20th and 21st in Gippsland. Yeah. Anyway, I'll catch it some other time. You've got this playing somewhere because I just love pantomime. I really,
it's good fun.
All the hype and that, it's wonderful. Chris, thank you for your time today, pal. I look forward to perhaps meeting you in the future and we'll do more work together. I've done a fair bit of work with your company, so we'll do more as time goes on, I'm sure.
Thank you very much for having me, Leigh. Terrific.
Nice to catch up, Chris. Take care, mate.
Bye now.
Bye-bye to you. Chris McKenna there, the producer, the guy who formed it all, started it all, and still runs it. Promac Productions, Little Red Riding Hood. Now, the phones haven't gone yet, so if you do want one or that pass, it's a family pass. You can take the grandchildren if you want to. It's over the school holidays. It's for the 3 o'clock in the afternoon performance. And if you'd like those tickets, ring in straight away. They're not going to last. There's some lines coming in there. 5996 6977. 5996 6977. It's for the 3 o'clock performance on that Tuesday of the school holidays. Either 2 adults and 2 children or 1 adult and 3 children. Red Riding Hood, the Panto. Great stuff. Thank you, Chris. That was a great chat to you.